Welcome to Aces Up, episode 42. I'm your host, Joe Carlton. I'm joined here tonight by my good friend, late edition, Joey Brown, late edition to the show. What's up? What's going on, Joe? How you doing this evening?
Doing good.
Good. And my main guest tonight is, an inaugural member of the Fantasy Sports Hall of Fame, inductee 2001. FSWA Hall of Fame inductee in 2010. He is also the founder of our beloved NFBC and NFFC, none other than lifelong Packers fan Greg Ambrosius.
Thanks for having me, guys. Glad to be here. Let's talk some fantasy. Let's talk some history. I've got some long history here, so let's have some fun tonight.
Absolutely. That's definitely one thing that I was looking forward to. Is I know you're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the foundation of fantasy sports itself. We appreciate everything that you've done, your impact, and I want to get into it. I want to learn as much as I can about it. Like this stuff interests me. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on here and talk about this.
No, I'm a history buff myself. I would love to write the history of fantasy sports one day. I think people don't realize that, this was invented in 1980 by Daniel Okrent, and I've met Daniel. I've been on Good Morning America with Daniel Okrent in 1994, believe it or not. And Daniel was just sour on the industry. He didn't want it to grow this way, but I started in 1989. So honestly, I started June 5th, 1989. So I've been in this industry for 37 years. If you think about it, the industry is 46 years old. I've been working in it for 37 years. So having a lot of fun, and let's talk about it because it's an amazing history of how this industry has grown from really an idea by a guy named Daniel Okrent writing the rules on a napkin on the airplane to being a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Nice. So first things first, how did you get involved? Like, how did this become a hobby for you at one point in your life?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was a newspaper sports editor for 7 years in Wisconsin from 82 to 89. I was making like $13,000 a year and loving it because I was in sports. That's what I wanted to do. And in 1989, there was an ad in the Green Bay Press-Gazette on the day of the NFL draft when the Packers drafted Tony Mandrich instead of Barry Sanders. My brother-in-law called me up and said, like, what are we doing drafting Mandrich? I'm like, I love him. He's great. He's going to be the best, And so as we were talking, he said, here's this ad. They're looking for an editor of rotisserie baseball. Don't you play that? And I did. I was with college guys who played APBA and Stratomatic. We rolled the dice in our dorm rooms for 4 years. And when we graduated, we lost touch with each other. And one guy in 1986 picked up the book, Rotisserie League Baseball, and said, man, we could get together once a year and just drink beer together and do this. I said, I'm in. So I started playing in 86. And when I interviewed in 89, I was one of the most experienced players they had interviewed. I had 3 years of experience, and I was the most experienced guy. And they hired me basically on the spot. I became the editor of Fantasy Baseball magazine. In 1989, we went live in January of 1990. What a lot of people don't realize was we were going to call it Rotisserie Baseball magazine. I emailed Glenn Wagner, the author of the book, and said, I'd love for you to write the foreword. And he said, we're going to sue you if you call it Rotisserie Baseball magazine. We own the trademark. I went into my boss's office. He said, now what are we going to do? I go, I play fantasy football. We call it fantasy football. Why don't we just call it Fantasy Baseball Magazine? Nobody's got a trademark. We call it Fantasy Baseball Magazine. And you know what? Nobody calls it Rotisserie Baseball today. That was probably one of the greatest things I ever did was say, fuck it. We're just calling it Fantasy Baseball Magazine. And Fantasy Baseball Magazine was really, really important to the industry. We had a circulation of 155,000. We broke it down by position. Nobody was doing it at that time. In 1991, there were multiple fantasy football magazines, but we really paved the way with fantasy baseball. And Fantasy Baseball Magazine lasted. We changed the name to Fantasy Sports Magazine because we were doing football and baseball, and football was so much more popular than baseball. I did that for 20 years. So that's why I was elected into the Fantasy Sports Trade Association Hall of Fame in 2001 because of what I had done in the magazine industry. Not anything in high stakes or anything, because I was a leader in the magazine industry. And then I started the Fantasy Trade Association, our convention, and I was a founding member of the Fantasy Sports Trade Association. So, I had some other things that I was doing before high stakes, that's for sure.
Right. So you're like the original pioneer, basically, one of the original pioneers.
Yeah, I mean, I was, but it was because my company hired me. They said, "Do you think this would go?" And I'm just like, "Hell yeah!" I mean, I think this is the next big hobby. And so I was writing for the Fantasy Baseball magazine, and then ESPN, believe it or not, Starwave Communications out of Seattle created ESPN.com. ESPN did not believe in the internet, so they actually hired somebody to create their site and everything. And they hired me in 1995 to be a fantasy football writer. Actually, the first thing I wrote was fantasy basketball. They saw our basketball magazine. They needed a writer for fantasy basketball. So I wrote for them in 95 in October. Then I did baseball for them. Then I did football for them. I even did a little hockey for them, believe it or not. I know nothing about hockey. But I was a columnist with ESPN.com from 95 to 2005. And again, that just gave me more exposure and kind of made my name out there in the early 90s.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. See, this is all the good stuff. This is what I like to know. What I like to learn about you guys. So appreciate you for sharing that.
Yeah, there were a small group of us. I mean, Ron Chandler, Rick Wolf. There's guys out there that
it was. I'm surprised that you kept at it. Like, I commend you for keeping at it, because it was hard. It was hard to even get 12 guys together back then to keep a league going. Like, I remember I had a league going for 2 years, maybe, and I was in high school, like freshman year of high school, and we had a league going for 2 years, and then people would drop out and be like, I'm not interested in, like, mid-season.
Yeah.
And so it would be like hard to keep together. So the fact that you stuck with it, and it shows your dedication, your leadership. You got great qualities for sure.
Well, I can tell you that there were many seminal moments, and Ron Chandler will talk about it as well. But I mean, in 1990, Fantasy Baseball magazine, we published 6 of them that year, and we tanked. I mean, we were in the baseball card industry, and it was not uncommon for us to sell 75% of 330,000 magazines. We had 155,000, and that first one sold like 25%. Now, that's not bad for a first timer, but I mean, then the next magazine was less, and the next magazine was less. And it really wasn't until I did one magazine of fantasy football. It was the Fantasy Baseball Fantasy Football edition. It was like the swimsuit issue for Sports Illustrated. We had subscribers. They'd go, "What the hell's football? I don't subscribe to football. I subscribe to fantasy baseball." But without us changing to fantasy football for a couple of the issues, we would have been dead in the water in 91. 90, 91, we did not make any money. 92 was a good year for us. And any startup is the first year you lose money, second year you lose money, third year you make all your money back, and then fourth year you make money from here on out. And that's honestly what happened to us. But our company was kind of antsy about losing money the first 2 years, because we were losing no money in the baseball card industry. It was just money hands over fist. So thankfully my company held on and left us a little leeway to make some money. And the same thing happened with the NFBC. We can talk about it later, but we lost our ass the first year, and we were given one more year to make money. And if we didn't make money in 2005, we wouldn't be talking today. But we did well, and then the rest is history. So you got to have patience as a company. Ron Chandler will tell you the same thing. He lost money early on. He quit his regular job in 94 to do this full time. And of course there was the baseball strike, and here he is, a father of 2 kids, and now he's got no revenue coming in. I mean, there's many of us pioneers who stuck it out and made it happen. And, we're glad we did, but the industry is glad we did too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Joe, you can feel free to chime in whenever you want.
Yeah, he's talking about Ron Chandler, his baseball forecaster. That's still big today. That's a good book.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he's in his 37th or 38th year of that, or maybe even 39th or 40th. I mean, he was before me, no doubt about it. And when we did our fantasy baseball magazine in 89, he probably was out there 85, 86. And then we were going to go 6 times a year. In 1991, USA Today put out Baseball Weekly. All of a sudden, there's a weekly out there, and it's because of fantasy baseball that we had to scale back to 4 times and then turn one of those into football, and then 2 times for football, and then 3 times for football. But yeah, USA Today was a big help for turning fantasy baseball profitable as well. When they went to Baseball Weekly, that was geared toward fantasy people. And really only 1 million people were playing fantasy sports at that time. That was what our survey said. I mean, today there's 57 million playing some form of fantasy sports. So,
absolutely.
you know, it's just taken off. But man, those early years of the 90s were not easy for any of us in the industry.
Nice. Okay. So so I got here, you served as president of Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association from 2003 to 2006.
Yeah, so I was actually, yeah, there was actually, this is the honest to God truth. There was labor draft in 1998 in Tampa, and there was a friend of mine named Carl Foster who felt we should have a trade association. So there were 11 of us, 11 companies who threw $500 into a pot to host the labor live auctions and to have a board meeting to say, you know what, we need a trade association. EA Sports was there. Stats Inc. was there. CDM Fantasy Sports was there. We were there, Krause Publications. There were 11, CBS Sportsline was there. The Sporting News was there. ESPN wasn't there. Yahoo wasn't there. But there were 11 of us that threw 500 in the pot. And we said, we're all fighting the same thing. What people don't realize was legislation was against us to claim that we were gambling, and they wanted to shut down the games. CDM Fantasy Sports, Charlie Weger, was paying for all the legal work then. And so we said, why don't we all put money in a pot and help him out along with us, because it helps all of us. So it was a great meeting. It was the first year we had 5,500 in the pot. We sponsored labor drafts there, NL and AL, and our bill was $9,500. After the first meeting, we were bankrupt. And they elected me as chairman. Carl was the president. And so then we had to raise more money. Rick Wolf and the Sporting News and CBS Sportsline paid the $4,000 so we could pay our bill and bought us another year. In 99, we said, this is serious. We really need to get this. We need to have membership. And I said, I would create the trade conference where people could all come and they'd pay $199 and this would finance what we're doing. And we did that in 1990. We inducted, or in 2000, excuse me. In 2000, we inducted the founding members, Daniel Okren and Glenn Wagner, into our Hall of Fame. They were the first ones. The reason I did that was we're now 20 years into the industry and people are forgetting who the guys were who created the fantasy baseball, right? And so that's why I wanted them to be inducted. I didn't know if we were going to induct anybody else after that, but I didn't want people to forget about Glenn Wagner and Daniel Okren. And the trade conference became a seminal moment. We had 85 people the first year. I said, let's do it for football as well. We had 100 the second, that August of 2000. And the trade association became just an important part of people doing business together. My mantra was, let's grow the pot. Let's not backstab each other and take business from each other. Let's grow the pot. That was always my mantra. And so I was either the chairman or the president from 2000 to 2008.
All right. So let's get into the NFBC history. Let's jump right into how high stakes was born.
Yep. So in 2002, people know that the World Championship of Fantasy Football was created by Emil Kadlec and Lenny Papano. They took an ad in our magazine, Fantasy Sports Magazine, a $200,000 grand prize, $1,250 entry fee, and you have to draft in Las Vegas. I looked at that ad and I told my ad manager, get cash for this ad. There's no fucking way this thing is going to take off. I did not, at that time, there was free. ESPN went free, RotoWire went free. Everybody was playing free games. And these guys were asking people to fly to Las Vegas, to draft for a $200,000 grand prize and pay $1,250. I thought it had no chance in hell. I knew Lenny and I knew Emil, and I liked them both, but I just couldn't see it happening. I had somebody who asked me if I wanted to go out there and co-manage a team with him. I said, sure, I'd love to see this disaster. So I go out there, and I'm in the Green Bay airport, and there's at least 14 guys there that are going out to Vegas for this event. I was blown away. And I thought, that's unbelievable. I get out there. They have rented out the entire New York hotel, the whole bridge outside, and they're having a party for everybody. There's 552 teams, I believe, 47 leagues, and there's 900 people with co-managers out there. I was in an expert draft that night, and I drafted, I swear to God, Kurt Warner, because he was coming off his MVP, and they booed the hell out of me. What are you drafting our quarterback in the first round? I knew it was intense at that point. And the next morning I walked to the to the MGM Grand, and we were all waiting outside. They were very late to open the doors. In fact, they were 30 minutes late. We're all waiting out there. They open the doors, and all you can see is draft boards, as far as the eye can see. The guy in front of me goes, this is the fucking Super Bowl of fantasy football. And I'm behind him. I go, it fucking is. I'm sorry for my language, but that's how impressed I was. I could not believe it. And they had temporary help. They didn't know who the players were. The stickers took forever. Lenny and Emil didn't like to talk, so they hired somebody to talk for them. And I left. I was at the break. They had a buffet after round 10. And I came up to Emil and I said, Emil, you know I could do this for baseball. You know we could do this together. I would love to partner with you. And he was so stressed out about the expenses. They knew they were losing money. And he said, we'll talk later. But I knew that I could do this for baseball. And they didn't know anything about baseball. And so we tried to work together. I wrote the rules. I went out to the Arizona Fall League Symposium, met with Charlie Wiegert, and told him I want to do this, and wrote the rules on the way back on the plane on a napkin and everything, and pitched it to Lenny and Emil, and we just couldn't get a deal done. They felt that they had created football, didn't want to give me any percentage of football. I didn't want to have 90% of baseball because I didn't think it would ever be as big as football, and so we parted ways. And in 2004, I decided to do it myself. They stole my rules and did the World Championship Fantasy Baseball one year. I didn't think it was cool, but I stopped in there. I supported them and said, I'm going to do my own next year. And I said, who needs a World Championship? I'll just do the National Fantasy Baseball Championship. So I trademarked that. Did it in 2004. I had 195 people. They had 45. And that was the last year they did it, competing against me. I lost my ass in 2004, but the rules were fantastic. People loved it. We had a two-way tie for first place, if you can believe it, in baseball, 2 days before the end of the season. Two guys were tied for first place with $100,000 on the line. And like I said, even though we lost money, we paid everybody the full amount. We guaranteed it. We did football as well. I tried to compete against them. They were just a monster. I lost my ass in football, but we paid people again. And after that, everybody trusted me and said, I'm in. We sold out the main event in 2005. We sold out the main event every year since 2005, 22 straight years. So I'm very proud of the NFBC. I'm very proud of what we created. But it was very, very tough. I can tell you that in the early years.
So the live events have been from since day one, basically. There's always been live events.
So we were the only ones that did regional events. I felt rather than have everybody fly out to Las Vegas, which is what WCOFF did, we have enough staff that we can do New York City. So we did the Javits Center the first year. Think about that. We're in the Javits Center, for crying out loud, in Manhattan. And we did Chicago and we did Las Vegas. So we had 3 of them, and they all drafted at the exact same time. One shot, one main event, everybody drafting at the same time. We did that through 2009. So the first 6 years, we did 3 regional ones. We stopped doing Chicago because people want to go to destination sites. I'm sorry I've learned that, but They want to go to New York City, Manhattan. They want to go to Las Vegas. We tried Tampa. It didn't work. But yeah, we have been the only place that have been multi-cities for baseball and football in the industry. Nobody's ever done New York City other than us. WCUFF or FFPC, they never have gone to New York City.
Nice. I'll be going again this year. I'm trying to get Joey to go. Convince him. Tell him he should go. I know you're not there usually there, Greg. It's usually Tom that runs that one.
Yeah, I run New Jersey for baseball, but Tom's there. We run 2 weekends for football in Las Vegas. We're at Circa this year, the first weekend, and at Caesar's Palace the second weekend. I am so psyched for those 2 venues. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, Greenwich Street Tavern, what Chris Vaccaro does there. Buffet is open, drinks are open. One day you guys can draft at 11 a.m. and stick around and watch everything. I mean, Chris just does a fantastic job, and we're just so honored to stay in Manhattan. It's very tough. I mean, I just was never making money in Manhattan. If I broke even, hey, most of my best customers are there, so I want to stay there. But man, it just got to be too expensive at the end. So Chris came through for us, and
absolutely,
it's gonna be a special time.
He's one of my real good friends. Me and him, we actually interviewed together back in 2012 on Sirius. So we've been tied ever since. So Chris is a good guy. He's a heck of a player. I've learned a lot from him over the years.
Yeah, he's a heck of a player. He won the 2012 prime time, and then the 2013 he led the whole regular season. We inducted him with that first class of Hall of Famers in 2013. Again, I'm a big history nut. If I hadn't gotten into writing, I would have been a history teacher. At that time in the 80s, they were like teacher's job. You can't even get jobs. There's too many of them, but I love history. And so that's why I have our Hall of Famers. That's why I have their resumes on our site. I don't want anyone to lose sight of who our top players were and what they won and when they won. That's why I love doing this, because I love the history of it. And, 23 years in, I'm old enough to walk away, but it's just really hard, because when you create something like this, it's tough to pass the baton, if you will.
Now, let's take like it and Chris and like Edelman and them and Billy Walsh, what they call charter members.
Yeah, they all started in 2004, right? So Chris Vaccaro was like 23 years old. Michael Edelman was like 26 years old. Glenn Schroeder, 28. Billy was 26. Who the hell had $1,250 when they're in their 20s? I didn't. And so when I look at these guys now, I mean, I know Vaccaro is 46. Think about it. He's been playing for 23 years, and he had $1,250 when he was 23 years old. Unbelievable. But those are the guys who built the NFFC, and they're charter members, and they're guys that I'll never forget, ever.
Great guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. So that was great. That was awesome, Greg. Shout out to the chat, Josh, Greg, Josh, Dan. Who else is in there? Mason, JC.
Those guys played in FFC too.
Yeah. Josh and Dan are. I'm sure he recognizes Greg. Yeah. I think they've met you guys. You guys have met face to face. So. But yeah, that was another reason why I was really excited about this show, Greg. I know you don't make it to New York. I haven't made it out to Vegas yet. So, someday, maybe when my kids are a little bit older and I got a little bit more time and energy to spend on myself, I'll make it out there and for sure meet you face to face in person.
But family gets in the way. Family gets in the way sometimes, but you got to take care of family, right? And work gets in the way sometimes. But I'll just say one thing. I mean, we kept New York, but we decided to do two weekends in Las Vegas in 2010, and it was kind of controversial because, again, everybody drafting at the exact same time was an even playing field, but we were only growing so much. Like, we were at 300 teams and then 330 and 360. You know what? Why not let people draft multiple times? And so we did the live events. We really weren't doing high stakes online too much at that time. But in 2010 or 11, we said, let's do Las Vegas twice, 2 weekends. I had never met any of the New York NFBC guys. And so they did New York the first weekend, and then they came out to Las Vegas. And they just brought a totally different energy to Las Vegas. I mean, we were cool out there, but then all of a sudden the New York guys wanted to draft all night and then hang out all night. And it was just such a great vibe. And I tell you what, it has not been the same in Las Vegas since, because those NFBC guys, you know, Glenn Schroeder, Scott Fleming, Masato, all those guys come out to Las Vegas for a second weekend, and it's family, and it's just been so good. But it's just the competition's been so great. And when you get 10 leagues drafting at once, 9 leagues drafting at once, I mean, we have the last several years we've had a 25,000 square foot ballroom with 8-9 leagues going at once, and these big screens and Hall of Famers up on the stage. It's just special. And football is the same thing. I mean, it's going to be great at Caesar's Palace this year, but yeah, having the New York guys come out to Las Vegas has been one hell of a vibe for sure.
Nice. Speaking of Hall of Famers in NFFC, a certain NFFC heavy hitter, I consider, texted me earlier this morning with a picture of him holding his finger up like this with a mound of poker chips in front of him. And he took down a $600 Omaha tournament, 138 entries, $600. It was at the area in Vegas.
Nice.
$15,000 top prize. So shout out Duke Viveros for that.
Yeah.
I definitely have to shout him out. That's now 2 poker guests that have come on my show that have gone on shortly after to win a poker tournament outright. We had Lily Lotfi on from she's a pro tournament player from Boston, from the East Boston area, and she went on to win a ladies event at the Wynn in Las Vegas for an $80K first prize.
Nice.
A few months later, she was actually in a little bit of a slump. I think she went like 2 months without cashing at the Boston Encore, which she absolutely crushes the local tournaments, and she went a couple months without it. And sometimes all it takes is that one big score, and she went out to Vegas and she got her one big score, and she's back killing it. So you heard it here, poker players. You want to win a poker tournament? Come talk some poker with me, man. On Aces Up.
We just want Duke to keep focusing on poker.
So anyways, Duke wants to know why he's not a Hall of Famer. Well, he doesn't want to know. He asked me. He was like, "How come I'm not a Hall of Famer?" And I was like, "I'll ask Craig tonight. Don't
Sure.
you worry."
Sure, people can ask me. So the criteria for being a Hall of Famer is very tough. I mean, I think we only have 11 or 12 in the Hall of Fame. Baseball, I don't think we have 9 or 10. And I've kept it that way because I don't want everybody in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I mean, when I was inducted into the Fantasy Sports Writers Hall of Fame, it was me, Matthew Berry, Eric Carabell. It was a select group. And now everybody's in that Hall of Fame. And it's okay. We would like to honor people, but I really am tough on the Hall of Fame. Duke won the Silver Bullet. No doubt about it. That's a big, big one. He's, one. Everybody only has one entry. But yeah, I think we keep track of the number of prime times that you've won and how many overalls you've won. And I think Duke, you want that overall in the prime time. You want that overall in the online championship. That might just be enough to get you over the edge. But yeah, it's a very tough criteria. He's one of the best. I mean, he's living the best life, right? He plays poker most of the time. By July 15th, he's done in Las Vegas, and he's drafted NFFC online championships every single night from July 15th. But he's gotten in some early onlines as well. But Duke's a great guy. Just saw him out at our baseball event. He popped in. He was playing poker in Las Vegas and popped in. And he's on the verge of being in the Hall of Fame. But there's others in line as well.
Oh, yeah. Those great players out.
Yeah, who's going to play me if we do a movie? So I got to write the book because I have been in talks with some people who want to do a documentary. I really think a documentary on the history of fantasy sports is going to happen one day, and I want to be involved with it. But I think I got to write a book first.
I'm already nominating Dave Kluge.
Yeah, there you go. To play me, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Man,
he's got the same. He's got the same kind of hairdo. If he grew out facial hair the same way, I don't know if he paints his beard or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
Some people paint their beard. You get the gray in the beard. So
I like Dave Klug as my.
I'm already nominating him.
There you go. There you go. And he's in his 30s. I was in my 30s when I started here. But yeah, no, there's a great history. But honestly, the reason why I think there's going to be a documentary one day is because honestly, and you guys know this, fantasy baseball, fantasy football led to DFS, which led to legalized poker, sports gambling. There's no legalized sports gambling if fantasy sports and DFS hadn't kind of paved the way. We got carve-out language for fantasy sports being legal in 2006, believe it or not. That was a CDM lawsuit, 2006. It's really the most impressive thing I've ever done because we as an association wrote an amicus brief. We hired somebody to write an amicus brief to say it's not going to only affect CDM, it's going to affect hundreds of companies. And that amicus brief was very important in us winning the 2006 against Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball wanted to control all fantasy games in 2006. They wanted to license ESPN and maybe Yahoo and nobody else. They told CDM, go away. We don't want you anymore. They told us, go away. We don't want you anymore. They were going to run every fantasy game through MLB.com and monetize it. And people don't realize how important that was that we won that lawsuit in 2006. So again, there's no legalized sports betting across the country if there isn't DFS and legalized fantasy sports.
That's good. Like I always worried, like, okay, you get this email, like, legs is, maybe not being able to play in Kentucky. I'm sort of thinking, I've got to play in NFFC. I'm sitting there thinking, they've got to make this right. But I've never seen no more.
Well, they're making it right by charging us all. I mean, we're paying like 23 different states, and they're not doing anything for us. Are they promoting us? No. Are they stopping illegal games? I don't know. But they're sure taking 6 figures from us. I mean, we pay 6 figures a year on licensing in 23 plus states. And we have a full-time compliance officer at Sports Hub who complies everything with the licensors. And if there's new ones like Arizona, we just got licensed in Arizona. We're paying money to Arizona to be licensed. So, yeah, I don't think people realize what it takes to run a high-stakes game right now. That's why you're not seeing any new companies.
Yeah, I know a little bit about it from guys I know that have been involved with Fast Draft and what it takes to get legalized in every different state. Yeah.
Right.
How many states aren't eligible to play?
I think there's nine that are not eligible to play right now. And it includes Ontario as well. Ontario is not eligible.
Right.
It's crazy. There's no reason for anybody not to be eligible. I mean, go ahead and license us. We'll pay. I mean, some of these states won't even allow, like Ontario, not that they're a state, but they won't even allow anybody to be licensed there. I mean, basically, they're protecting their lotteries and their, casinos, Indian casinos or whatever. That's what they're protecting. They don't want competition. And fantasy sports is not competition. Somebody is not going to the casino to either bet on football or to play blackjack because they're in a high-stakes fantasy baseball league. It's stupid. The states don't understand that these are different clientele and different games, for crying out loud. I mean, we're not gambling. You don't play fantasy baseball and give me the money 7 months before I'm going to pay you out. That's not gambling. That's a love of baseball. That's gambling is, I'm going to give you $50 today and I want to win 100 at the end of the game. That's gambling. It's not 7 months of playing. That's a love of the game.
It's 100% skill too.
It's skill. It absolutely is over 7 months. I mean, you miss 1 week of fab, you're getting beat by your competitors in high stakes.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you, because I wasn't sure what this meant for the NFFC, but you had the FFWC merge with you guys?
So what it is
am I saying that right?
Yeah, we're acquiring. It's an acquisition. We're acquiring FFWC. And there's 3 live events out in Las Vegas, and we're acquiring one of them. We are going to run FFWC. The acquisition is not final yet. They made an announcement in January. We definitely want to close this as soon as possible, but it's not easy. And so we are planning on running their live event and their main event with a $200,000 grand prize. We are going to run the prime time with a $300,000 grand prize, and we're going to try to grow both of them, but we will own both of them. So then there's FFPC out there. So those are the three, but we will own two of them. So we feel like the market needs a little consolidation. I've always felt that way. And I think by merging their customers with our games, like the online championship, they ran an online championship. We're not going to run one of theirs. We're going to funnel into ours, which is why we raised our grand prize to 300,000. So
I like that.
Yeah. So they ran a best ball. We're going to merge it into our best ball. So it just feels like it makes a lot of sense for us to do things together. They have an affiliation with Circa. We want an affiliation with Circa. So it's an acquisition. It's a pure acquisition from us buying FFWC.
Got it. Awesome. All right. So we knocked out the 300K grand prize question as well. So other than a possible documentary, where do you think the future of high stakes is going?
I'm positive. I'm positive on the future of high stakes. I think more people are getting into it. Like Joey says, you can start a 150 qualifier and you can win an entry into the main event, right? Play a qualifier in football and get an entry into the prime time. So we're doing a lot of things to get people in to the high stakes space. You can play on the NFFC for $25. We have $25 best ball, $50 best balls, $150 best balls. But my concern is the licensing. It's that the government doesn't understand what fantasy sports is about. They don't understand that, yes, we're willing to pay licensing fees. Just let us run our business. The days of people really not paying out prizes are over with. I think we're all reputable who are in the space right now. So, but yeah, it's good to have government overlooking us. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have any problem with it. But I do think the high stakes space is going to grow, but I'm very, very concerned the baseball lockout is like, I'm not renting any hotel space. I'm not sure what's going to happen with baseball, but I think it's going to be an ugly one. I lived through the 94 strike. And honestly, fantasy baseball was more popular than football up through 94. If anybody lived through 94, Ken Griffey Jr., Bagwell, Frank Thomas, they were all going after Maris's home run record. The baseball card industry was through the roof.
Matt Williams.
Expos was probably the best team in 94, wasn't they?
Expos were for sure the best team. Tony Gwynn was going for 400. They not only had a strike, they shut the whole postseason down. There was no World Series. Fantasy football took off after that. Baseball didn't even start in 95 until almost May. And so fantasy baseball guys didn't come back. Fantasy football has been number one since 95, and it'll never look back. And so if baseball thinks that they're going to, gain some leverage over the players or whatever and shut it down for a while, forget about it. People will watch WNBA for crying out loud during the summer. So baseball better not screw this up. I think they're going to, but I sure hope they don't. And it would hurt the NFBC in a big way.
I hope they don't, because I like playing in those seasons, NFBC.
Yep, I hope not too, but they're pretty dumb and they're greedy, and the owners think they can break the players and they want that salary cap in the worst way. But listen, I got a Brewers shirt on right now. I love the Brewers, and they're kicking ass right now. And, the Miz and Kyle Harrison in the playoffs, they could win it all. So I don't think we need a salary cap in baseball. I don't. I think it could help, but are we going to shut down the game for a year? It'd be stupid.
Agreed.
Yeah, Brewers are good. I sit there looking at my NFBC team today, and I sit there thinking, oh, Lord, Trevor McGill's day to day. I didn't know he was hurt. I was like,
so I got to shout out Steve D'Angelo. He's in the chat. He gave me a couple of questions to ask you, Greg, regarding the future of high stakes. Do you ever see like the New York Super or a designed high stakes draft with a specific buy-in and a specific top overall prize, like almost like a final table being televised on ESPN, like one confined 12-team draft at any point?
You know what? That's a tough one to answer. So certainly the live stream drafts to me are the new content in the industry. I am bullish
Right.
on the live streams. You know, I mean, SiriusXM is still doing mock drafts. I'm sorry, but people don't care about mock drafts anymore. And so when we do 350 online championship drafts, people are watching what Nelson's saying and Steve is saying and you're saying. You guys
Right.
know that, right? I mean, that's where the audiences are going right now. And so when we run the Super New York Super and SiriusXM carries it live, it's fantastic.
Oh
But
yeah.
SiriusXM doesn't follow who wins it, or there's nothing on their site with the standings or anything. So this comes back to labor. I mean, I've been in labor. I was in labor when it started in 1994 when John Hunt did it. I was in for 30 straight years. The reason Tout Wars started, Ron Chandler started that, was USA Today would put the draft results, the auction results in there, but then they would never follow the league or to see who won it. And Ron always felt that they should. And so that's why Ron created Tout Wars, was we'll follow the standings all year. And not only that, we'll follow their fab pickups and their moves, and people could do that. Fab, we would just draft, get our auction results in USA Today. It was fantastic. I love the exposure, but nobody knew if I finished first, second, third, or last. So yeah, I think that the short answer is I do think that it'll be televised someday online. I don't think ESPN will, but I do think that there's so many popular live streams, and whether it be the Kelsey show or McAfee doing something, I think something like that is where it would be carried. And yeah, we'd be up for it for sure. I mean, we love the exposure for our players. I mean, that New York Super football and baseball has been carried on SiriusXM since
A long
probably
time.
2012, I think. So yeah, definitely.
I saw the first 10 rounds last year before I had to jump the train back to Boston. And
Yeah.
it's nice. It's intense. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I mean, you know, I do the platinum draft at 20,000 per team, and we have diamonds at 10,000 per team. I don't know why somebody's not televising them or live streaming them, because
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Steve too. We've been talking about this, and like if it would ever become a thing, like, or
Yeah.
if like somebody would follow the leagues, like you're saying, and highlight some of the stuff, like some of our savvy moves throughout the year, and
Yeah.
maybe having a player of the year award or something to that degree, and it's like a couple of different awards to give it like each year based on how successful you were, or how you've been doing it for 10 years and you finally
Right.
won some, like an achievement award or something along those factors.
Yeah, I mean, we're
But,
all up for it too. We haven't had anybody approach us saying, "Hey, we'd love to live stream the platinum," let's say. And when
Yeah.
I'm in Las Vegas, we are so busy running multiple drafts. I mean, we're doing 6 at a time. I just am focused on making sure everybody shows up and we get her done and stuff like that. But you're just talking about player of the year and stuff like that. If anybody had followed last year, let's say, and at the end of the year said, "Who had the best year in the NFFC?" It would have been Michael Edelman. Mike, you're a Hall of Famer. You know you had a hell of a year. Everybody in New York
He's good.
knows he had a hell
He's
of a year.
really good. Yeah.
Check out what he did last year. Michael Edelman would have been 2025 NFFC Player of the Year. He had a hell of a year
Yeah,
last year.
I'll tell y'all a little story right quick about the NFL, the Super. Now, I'm a low volume player. I only do one prime time. So I set my date. I love how y'all do you can select your date now.
Yep.
But I don't ever do my prime time until after the Super. A few years back, I can't remember if Chris was 8 or my draft was 10. He took CD Lamb. I said, okay. He liked him. I said, okay, I'm gonna I don't copy nobody. So I said, I'm gonna build my roster with CD Lamb. I think I took him 8, and I think Chris was 10 that draft. I ended up winning my second prime time. So I actually implement that into my strategy. I said, I'm gonna say, well, all these guys that I like, I said, not that I want to copy. I want to see what they're thinking behind these
Yep.
players they draft.
Yep.
And I always like watching what Chris does anyway, but
Yep.
I always watch that draft before I do my prime time.
Yeah, and again, that is the best content, right? I mean, you can have writers and all that, and hell, I used to be a writer and I used to rank, and if I'm on Sirius XM, I'll say take this guy over this guy. Hey, you tell me what Frank and Chris and
Nelson too,
Nelson and
yeah.
Mike
What
and
they're doing, yeah.
I mean, Fantasy Sopranos. Tell me what they're doing, and I'm following them, right? What the hell is Greg Ambrosius? No, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Nice. All right. So, all right, we gotta we can't let you go without some questions about the Green Bay Packers. CEO, so the co-founder of the sports affiliation with JC is Iggy Gilbert. I don't know if you've heard of him. He writes for Fantasy Alarm.
Okay.
Him and JC started the sports affiliation, which is what we're broadcasting on right now. They gave me this show. They let me do whatever I want. So we definitely I reached out to him. Iggy is also a lifelong Packers fan. So, and he was like ecstatic that you were coming on. He actually probably would be on with us right now, but he's an umpire, and he's umpiring some games. So, but I did get a couple of questions from him.
All right.
So let me see what we got. Let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, here we go. Can the Packers defense be the catalyst come December, January to push the Packers to the NFC Championship?
All right, so I'll give a little background here. So my dad bought season tickets at Lambeau Field when they expanded in 1958. He bought 4 tickets.
Yeah.
And he would never let us go to any regular season games. I could only go to 1 preseason game. Same with my brother Mike and Mark. And I mean, once I walked into Lambeau Field, he used to tell us to close our eyes. And as we walked in, open your eyes. And it was just like the Wizard of Oz. It was just like unbelievable to see Lambeau Field. And so since my dad passed, I have taken over our family tickets. And so just think about our family sitting in those same seats from 1958 to 2026. It's just hallowed ground, and it's just unbelievable. But just love it so much. So I started going when my dad was having health problems in '92, which was really the first year of Brett Favre. And so I basically went to almost all the home games from '92 to Rodgers through. And you want to talk about seeing quarterbacks for 30 straight years of just unbelievable play by those guys. I mean, Favre was just, I had an end zone seat. He'd throw in a triple coverage and you'd go, no. And then, oh God, he caught it. Nice throw, whereas Rodgers is just so precise and never takes chances and doesn't like interceptions, where Favre, he didn't give a shit about interceptions, but God, what a great play. So to answer his question, the NFL loves to make us sit our asses on those aluminum bleachers in December and January. We have 4 of our last 5 home games are in Lambeau Field, which people go, God, that's great for the Packers. It sucks for season ticket holders because it is so cold in December and January. But, the big thing with the defense, Micah's probably going to miss 7-8 weeks. I mean, they're not going to rush him back. They need him to be healthy for the playoff run. So how they can hold up defensively, I mean, you saw what happened last year. As soon as he got hurt against Denver, I mean, we were kicking Denver's butt, and we were the best team in football at that point. As soon as he goes out, our defense had nothing. There's no pass rush without him. So I don't know how they're going to hold up early in the year. But when Micah comes back, yeah, they can play well. They did not get turnovers last year. They just did not get the turnovers under Hafley. I don't think Hafley blitzed enough. I think they're going to try to mix it up more and blitz more this year. So I do like the Packers defense. They're probably a defense of 2. They're probably not one of the top 12 defenses being picked, but I think they're going to blitz a lot more and try and force more turnovers. You can bend but not break for just so long, and that just didn't work last year. At some point, you got to blitz the quarterback and try and get an interception. They didn't do that last year, and that hurt them down the stretch.
Awesome. Also, we got the other question is, which Green Bay wide receiver has the most fantasy football value based on their current ADP?
That's a good question. So Watson's moving on up, right? Since he
He
signed,
is.
and he's moving up into the early 4th round now. I think last night he went 41st in the online championship. I think Jaden Reed is still undersold. I could see where Jaden Reed leads the team in receptions, maybe not receiving yards, maybe not touchdowns, but I think Jaden Reed, he just was hurt last year and, just didn't get her going. I like him an awful lot. They paid him this offseason. He's happy. I think Jaden Reed is going to be the guy. But, man, do I love Matthew Golden. I mean, just look at his tape last year. I'm all over Golden. If he's going for $9 or whatever he's going for in auctions, I think Golden is the steal. So I'm all in on him his second year. I think the rookie year, I'm telling you what, if you watch tape of them last year, Golden was beating his guy and Love was throwing somewhere else. I think this kid has a chance to really, if they see the tape, this guy is beating his guy. He can get it done. So Matthew Golden would be the guy I would say, I guess, at this point.
That's good to know.
I want to see the coach. I think LaFleur puts a little bit of a leash on Jordan Love, and I feel like
agreed.
I feel like he needs to let that go a little bit. Let that boy throw the ball around.
Agreed 100%. I mean, I think he's been way too conservative for him.
Yeah.
I mean, even the last 2 years, even the year they made the playoffs when they were really bad, they took the leash off him and they won 6 out of 7 down the stretch. I mean, he threw it all over against Dallas in the playoff game, and he did well against San Francisco. They still don't let him just ball out, and I think he can ball out. I'm in on Jordan Love. I know that sounds like a Packer fan, but he's going for so low. He's QB2 in the NFFC. In the auctions, he's going for $2 or $3. I mean, the upside is really good for him. If they just kind of concentrate on these 4 wide receivers, counting Kraft, I think this guy could have some really good success. I like him an awful lot.
I agree. He's going very, very under the radar for sure. Yep. At quarterback.
Yep.
Jacob's a year older too, so they're gonna have to start letting Love.
Yeah, they need to let him pass more. Tucker Kraft, are you worried about him? Like, you think he'll be 100% full throttle week 1, or are they gonna slowly ease him in?
No, I was at the game where he got hurt against Carolina. It was so devastating. It just took the entire life out of the stadium. And no, I mean, anybody who's had an ACL, I've torn my ACL. You're never 100% that first year back. I'm sorry, you're not. Everything looks good from him. He looks like it's possible that he doesn't start on the PUP. Would he be 100%? No. Could he play week 1? Absolutely. That was late October when he got hurt, whereas Micah got hurt in December. He didn't get operated on until December 29th. So Kraft could come back. I like Kraft. I like him a lot. The dude's a baller, just unreal. But I don't like to draft already hurt players. I'm just saying that. That doesn't mean I wouldn't draft Kraft, but he's definitely got some work to do to get back to 100%. And it won't be 100% this next year. It'll be the next year after that.
And I like Luke Musgrave. He was drafted in front of Kraft.
He certainly was. He was. Yeah. And you know what? I thought last year they would go a lot of 2 tight end sets. I mean, you're seeing teams go 3 tight ends, what the Rams are doing and stuff like that. Musgrave's a bigger guy, height-wise and such, than Kraft, but he just hasn't worked himself in. He looks a lot slower. He goes down when he gets hit. He's totally different. To think that he was drafted ahead of Kraft is craziness. But, Kraft was at South Dakota State, so people didn't know how he would do it with the NFL, but Kraft's a beast, and I would like to see him do more 2 tight end sets. I agree with you, Joey.
I know, because last year I had Kraft on my NFFC teams, and they went down. So I hated Musgrave a lot. So I was like, he kind of disappointed me at times, or he just. Yep. But I thought that he was talented, but I don't know. It just didn't.
I thought he had a chance to step up there, right, and then it just didn't work out. So.
We got a question from Dan in the chat.
Dan, good to see you, man.
Does
So
Hay-
yeah, it's a good question. So we're not going to have a Wednesday night watch party. We do have drafts on Wednesday. We have a 7 p.m. prime time that's full. We might go do two of them. Here's my thought. I know the other event is doing Wednesday viewing party, Thursday viewing party. I mean, when you fly out to Las Vegas to draft fantasy football, yes, we all want to get together on the Thursday night. We've hosted a Thursday night party. We're going to host a Thursday night party this year again. It's so much fun to shut down all drafts. Let's all get together. Let's all wear our NFL jerseys and have a blast. Our Thursday night parties are a blast. They're a freaking blast, and hanging out with Dan and others. But I'm not going to do it 2 nights in a row. So we'll probably go down to the Caesars Sportsbook if people want to watch games down there. I don't think it's going to be packed on a Wednesday night. But on Thursday, we'll have a viewing party, but not a Wednesday night viewing party.
There you go, Dan.
Dan's a good guy. Those guys
He
have won a
is.
bunch of qualifiers and such. I mean, I think one year he won 3 of them and got 3 free prime times. So, Dan, we'll see you out there, and we'll see you at the Thursday night party for sure.
Dan is a ball knower, 100%. That's the best way I describe him, man. He is a ball knower. All right, so got a couple more questions from a sports affiliation guy. It's also a fellow FSWA Hall of Famer, Mr. Greg Kellogg.
Oh, great, great. He was in the first class with me.
I reached out to him and to see if he had any questions he wanted me to ask. So he gave me a couple. Okay. One of them is, of your many diverse endeavors, which one is the most fulfilling?
I think the NFBC founding that and creating those rules. I've said this. I know there's a game changer award in the industry. If not that we've ever gotten it, or not that I'm pushing for it, but the NFBC changed the fantasy baseball industry. I'm sorry, but in 2004 on Sirius XM and stuff like that, I mean, baseball was AL only auctions, NL only auctions. That's what labor was. We did a 15 team. Nobody did a 15 team. I don't even know how I created a 15 team. I was asking people, what would you do to make it tough? And somebody said 16 team leagues, 14 team leagues. I didn't want to do 12. I thought that was too easy. And on my flight home, I just thought, there's 30 MLB teams. Why not half the player pool? Let's do 15 teams. And so I'm really proud that initial rules that I wrote in 2004 have been really not changed hardly at all. And so I'm really proud of how I've grown the fantasy baseball industry. I copied somebody doing fantasy football, and I like what I did there. I'm really proud about what we did with the trade association and how we fought Major League Baseball in 2006. But I think, honestly, I'm most proud of Fantasy Baseball Magazine and then creating National Fantasy Baseball Championship from nothing. I mean, I don't even know how I did. I'm not that creative. I'm not that good at things, but somehow the Lord just put it in my head. This is what you should do for high stakes fantasy baseball, and it's stuck. And I think NFBC will outlast me for sure.
Nice. I like that. That was a good answer, Greg. Great question, Greg Kellogg, too, by the way. The second question is, of all the mini writers that you've published over the years, who was the most insightful, who was the most funniest, and who was the one that you enjoyed working with the most?
As far as writers with us?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. It says
Yeah.
I would also ask him of the mini writers that he's published over the years. So I don't know what that means, but
yeah. So what he's saying, and that's part of the Fantasy Sports Writers Association Award, is that we've lifted up other people, right, and given them exposure in our magazines. And so we had a lot of freelance writers, obviously, in our magazines through the years. And after they wrote for us, they got exposure elsewhere and stuff like that. I mean, I really can't think of a lot of people that I want to single out. I mean, Bill Ballou was one of our best guys. I'll tell you a story. How we were going to do Fantasy Baseball Magazine was I decided to go to the baseball winter meetings in Nashville in 1989, and I had a one-page flyer that I was looking for freelance writers, and I put them out there because all the Baseball Writers Association was there. And so I put them out there, and I stood in the background just looking to see who would pick them up. And all of a sudden I see a guy pick them up and throw them in the garbage. Well, I only had like 20 of these 4-color brochures. And so when he left, I went over and picked them up and got them back, and I put them back on the tables. And next thing I know, he picked them up and threw them in the garbage again. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And so I hung around. I took them all back, and I went in the next morning, and I actually didn't have a press pass, so I was actually sneaking in there. I put it back out again, and I sat in the background, and I saw one guy pick it up, and he was really looking at it. And I walked over to him. I said, "Do you play fantasy baseball?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm Rod Beaton of USA Today." I don't know if anybody knows who Rod Beaton is. God bless his soul. He's dead now, but he was the premier writer for the National League. And he said, shit, he pulls out his wallet, he pulls out a yellow piece of paper, and he shows me his lineup for his fantasy team. And we talked for 20 minutes, and he said, "I'd love to write for you." And then he got writer after writer after writer for me. He helped us launch Fantasy Baseball magazine, and he was just fantastic. And he got other USA Today guys. Larry Weissman was the beat writer for USA Today NFL. He joined me as well. Brady Tinker, I did a Fantasy Football Weekly show. Many people may not know, 1996, we were the very first national Fantasy Football Weekly show. So Brady Tinker is a guy that I helped, and he'd be one of the guys I would point out to Greg. Greg probably knows who Brady is as well. But yeah, I mean, it's so many people that wrote for us and did things for us that it's just amazing. But that's what the Fantasy Sports Writers Association Award is, and Greg knows that. It's for us propelling other people in the industry.
Right. That's what I love. That's one of my favorite parts about the entire fantasy sports industry is everybody is willing to lift each other up. Everybody's positive about each other. It's not so much cutthroat. I mean, it's not all roses either. You have your few bad eggs and mishaps here and there, but at the end of the day, it's the most positive environment that I've ever been a part of.
It's grow the pie. It's grow the pie. And I hate on Sirius XM when some guys are like, should we change the rules of fantasy baseball? Should we do different of this? Grow the pie. Grow the pie. People don't mind it making tough. There's this thing. Why do we have 2 catchers? Why do we have team kicker? Why do we have defenses? I don't like defenses. It's all part of the game. Finding 2 catchers in baseball is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be easy. People say to me, why didn't you ever create disabled lists, Greg, for the NFBC? Because it's hard. It shouldn't be easy. Do you want to keep Judge on your roster? We only have 7 reserve spots. Yeah, you're going to do it, but it makes it hard to do it. I'm not about easy, and I'm sorry, I'm not changing the game. I'm not changing the rules. It's all about a tough challenge, and that's what we want. That's why we come back. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, but it's all about growing the pie. And Joe, you're right. And that's why I'm on the show tonight. I'm on a lot of live streams if people want to talk about history or anything. I want to grow the pie. I want to help you grow your audience. So count me in. Sorry.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Greg. Absolutely. Like I said, man, and it's funny because I reached out to you the other day and you were like, "We're doing this Tuesday," and I was like, "Okay." And I had Billy Wisowski and Willie Miles all lined up, and I was like, I reached out to them boys, and I was like, "You guys are coming on next week. I hope it's all right with you."
They gotta take a back seat to me. I'm sorry, Billy's a Hall of Famer. Will's won the online championship. Billy's won the online championship overall, but nah, they gotta take a back seat to me. And no, I appreciate you reaching out because again, when it comes to the history, I don't mind talking about it at all. But the thing is, Joe, you started doing live streams. Other players have done live streams. I retweet those, but that's cool that you guys are taking it on your own. You're paying for your own teams and you're doing live streams and you're putting money where your mouth is. And I just don't think there's enough people in the industry that are doing that. And if live streams is the new content, everybody should be doing it.
sacrificing our own good too. Last year, I live streamed by myself and with Steve D'Angelo, a total of five teams, maybe.
Yep.
And I had one make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every other, the ones that I didn't do all made the playoffs. So I said to Steve, I was like, either I have to get better at this or I have to stop doing it, one or the other.
Well, it's tough, isn't it?
It's hard because you're sharing your thoughts during the draft and you're maybe pointing something out that one of your opponents doesn't see.
Right.
And that opponent is listening to you. And so now they have that information. And it's like you just gave away an edge. And you know what I mean? And it is really hard to share your opinion on players and be I'm authentic about it. I don't lie. Sometimes I'm off on a take and then I'll adjust, weeks down the road when more information convinces me to. But it's when you're authentic about it and you're sharing your thoughts and you're thinking out loud, and it definitely makes it challenging for sure. And everybody's listening because, but what got me into doing podcasts and fantasy football content is participating in a draft that was live streamed and interacting with people, my opponents, by listening to them on the podcast. And even though they didn't realize it, I would answer them out loud, you know what I mean? And kind of have a conversation with them myself, but they don't hear me, but like that type of experience. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And Steve does a good job too. He's great. But if you talk to anybody, Nelson, Sean Childs, they'll go, man, it's tough to do both, but they still do it.
Nelson does it right. He stays quiet and he just focuses on his draft. I noticed.
That's why he brings Medica on or somebody like that,
Yeah.
You go ahead, Medica.
I know. I had Joey come on a couple last year that he wasn't drafted and he helped chime in. So maybe that's what I'll do when I do live stream one that I'm actually doing. I'll have Joey come on and do all the talking.
There you go. Yep.
But it's not easy.
Is that the people are so, you make so many friendships. I could keep naming so many of them that it's like, even though you never met them, it's like you know them.
Yeah.
And on a sad note, I don't want to chop his name, but we lost Bob.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I meant to bring that up. Yeah, that's weird.
Did he win football or baseball?
He won baseball. He won the main event. So,
yeah, that's right.
And when he won the main event, he was humble about it and everything. And he came out to Las Vegas and he bought everybody breakfast and he was just wanted to hang out with people. And he was 56 years old. And, Bob had multiple car dealerships. He was very, very wealthy and he would do anything for anybody. I mean, you can just talk to anybody that knew him. And I knew he had some medical problems because he was going to come out to Las Vegas in March. And then he told me, his doctor said he needed to stay home, and so he couldn't. But I'll tell you what, that was tough for me. I'm older than Bob, so 56 years old is too young. My feeling, and I told this to several people that I've been texting with, is don't take these live events for granted. I mean, if you think that you're going to go next year because your schedule is busy this year, I mean, we're not guaranteed next year. I'm not guaranteed next year. And I keep telling guys, I don't know how many more years I can do this anymore. So come on out. Let's hang together. Let's be brothers and let's sisters. And I mean, it's just so much fun at the live events. We have created a community that's second to none. I don't care.
Yeah.
We have created a community that's second to none. And if you can hang out in New York City or if you can hang out in Las Vegas, try and do it this year because that one hit me. That one hit me really hard. Bob's salt of the earth, man. Just a great, great guy. So
I had no idea. It just popped up on Twitter. I was like, man,
yeah, it was shocking. Every year we seem to lose somebody significant, man.
And it's Bob Kramatola for people that don't know, and Bobby is just a great, great guy, and his wife put it on Twitter. So he died at hospice, so something must have I can tell you for a fact, looked at his football keeper league teams. He had made all of his keepers in all 4 teams. So something happened recently that took him by surprise because he was already planning for football. I mean, it's crazy.
He's good in both sports.
He was good. On his keeper league teams, he's got Puka Nacua in the 11th round, the 13th round. He drafted him like in the last rounds. His keeper league teams are insane. I feel so bad that we had to sell them. Geez. But yeah, it's sad. So please, anybody, don't take any day for granted. And if you come out to the live events, please do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I never got a chance to meet Bob, but I was in several leagues with him, competing with him. He's definitely a very good player, sharp dude. Sense of humor is great. Followed him on Twitter. You know, a great sense of humor for sure. So yeah, that's basically all I got on that. But prayers to his family and his wife, especially. Yeah, for sure. All right. That's it. I think that's it, Greg. Yeah, we got anything else to talk about, Joe? You good?
I want to ask Greg something. Even though he was a Green Bay Packer, I've been on these airways pimping Dontavian Wicks. I think he's the biggest wide receiver in that room in Philly. I think he could make an impact. I'm a Josh Allen fan, Buffalo. I said I always wanted them to go get him from Green Bay. I think the kid's talented, but I was get your take on him.
Well, he is talented. I mean, 2 years ago, he had way too many drops, right? I mean, and last year he did not have the drops. The Detroit game where he came up big time, he showed that he can do it. The Packers made a business decision, right? I mean, they're already over the cap, and they couldn't pay everybody. They drafted all these wide receivers in the same year, and so there was only so many that they could extend, and they've already extended 2 of them, so that's fantastic. But I think he has great potential there. He's certainly
he's free.
Yeah, he's certainly much bigger than Devonta Smith, you know, and such. But we'll see what he does there. For some reason, he just didn't step up the way like last year. He had the opportunity when Christian Watson was down for a while and stuff. So, and there's a reason why he was drafted in the 5th round or whatever, right? So, I think he'll be okay. But I'm not all in on him this year. I just think it's going to take a while. You know, obviously Mannion was in Green Bay and they're running his offense, so he's well versed on it. So he should hit the ground running myself. But yeah, he's a big kid. He's got great hands. I just don't know what happened 2 years ago when he had all those drops.
Yeah, he always was a waiver wire darling on the NFL.
Sure.
Go get him, and you get him, and he just goes away. Seems like, but I think he has little potential. And there's another kid I was going to ask you about. I telling Joe, you know, based on ADP and where he's going, and we don't know what Neighbors is going to do just yet. I think Malachi Fields is a good pick where he's going, and I took him like 16th or 17th round just to flyer the other night.
Yeah, Greg Cassell just did a tape review, and he looked at him and said, wow, he was really impressed. I now know why the Giants were so high on him. So, yeah, definitely keep an eye on him. I mean, Malik Neighbors is really falling in NFFC drafts.
He is.
Just talked about that in our –
mine.
Yeah.
I just got him at 48th overall in a Gladiator.
I just saw him at 45. Jeff and I were talking about it on the live stream. You know, in auctions, he's still going. Again, I don't want to draft already hurt guys at ACL. He had a second surgery. They're saying – well, that's kind of normal. It's not normal. I'm sorry. I had an ACL. I didn't have a second surgery. I mean, when there's cleanup after an ACL, that's not normal. It's not good. But he tore more than just the ACL. So I didn't like him when he was going at the end of the 2nd round. I mean, he was going 22nd, 23rd. I mean, now he's going at the end of the 4th round.
48, I'll take a shot.
You take a shot there for sure. And you can fill in, especially. But I wouldn't be surprised if he starts on the PUP list. I really wouldn't. So,
we'll see. they went out and they signed Odell Beckham, and you know they brought him back up, so that's evidence too.
My problem is he's back on the same turf of the Jersey Field, right? I just don't like that. That's where he got hurt, and I mean it's different if he's playing on grass full time. But oh my God, I mean you're always hurting with your knee after that, and then to go play on AstroTurf 8 times a year, that's tough.
Yeah. You know, I kind of view him as the Rashid Rice guy. You know, these high volume players, when you take him maybe fourth or fifth round, you could take a shot like, you know, Chad and all, they could take a shot on Neighbors and just stash him. You know, they're getting, you know, wide receiver forward probably.
Yep. So I think Fantasy Savvy is asking about a top 25 rankings.
That's Steve. Yeah, that's Steve. So when I mentioned the player awards and stuff, I forgot to bring this one up too that we've been discussing, like almost like a you know, the top 25 college football, like have a rankings rolling throughout the year.
Well, I mean, we have a career earnings list. We took the money off of there for
that's what I said to him. I was like, they do have the list of money earnings, but I was like, are you talking like in season rankings? Like,
again, that's kind of tough because of the number of leagues everybody takes, right? I mean, if somebody takes a lot, he didn't win as much, but he won a couple of league titles. Does that make him better than Joey, who maybe only did one primetime and won his league title? No, I wouldn't think so. So we do have a formula in baseball. KJ Duke does it, where he's got a top 25. It's not every year, it's career as well. But yeah, the career earnings is kind of our top 25, if you will.
I said top 25. Players in New York.
I said that to Steve. I said, so who's ranked higher? The guy with 55 teams, 27 playoff berths, and 17 wins, or the guy with 6 teams, 5 wins, and 1 second place? Like, who goes higher there?
And then it depends what leagues, right? I mean, as a silver bullet, if you win your silver bullet league title in the overall, hey, man, everybody only had one shot. If it's a prime time, that's still really good, but you might have had a lot of prime times and such, and same with the online championship. And that's why when I do the Hall of Fame, I dig in. Trust me, I dig into everybody's resumes. I know Duke's resume. I know everybody's resume. So, you know, there's guys that are close, and we'll get there. But for a top 25 during that year, I mean, first of all, we wouldn't know until the championship round pretty much, right? So we couldn't be like college football where we had it going after week 1 and week 2 and stuff like that. So I'll let you guys do that at the bar.
Or maybe like a golf, like how golf and tennis do their ranking.
And again, it doesn't matter if you're ranked high after week 8 or 9. What the hell does that mean? Anything? You haven't made any money yet. So I think it'll be at the year end. And again, I write all the winners and I look at all the league champions for primetime at the end of the year. So that's when I know, like Michael Edelman was the player of the year last year. Not quite sure who was number 2. Maybe it was Fantasy Sopranos. He had a great year last year. So, you know, things like Chad had a fantastic year, but he didn't win an overall. He didn't win an overall, but those would be 3 guys that certainly would stand out to me last year. So
Chris Picaro dominated the primetime last year.
Yeah, Chris had another. Yep, absolutely. So, but again, I wouldn't know that till after week 17, and then we're on to the next season, anyways, right?
Oh yeah, it's fun. I mean, the competition is just so unreal. That's what I like about it more than anything. Just you learn and you get better. I mean, I always tell everybody too. I don't know if I told Joe this, or I know I ain't told you, but back before I could really afford to play in the prime time, the 350s was the main event to me. I was like,
me too. Same here, Joe. 28, 20.
I tell everybody you need to work your way up. I mean, it's hard to. It's not easy, and you might not. After you win one, you like cherish it. Like, okay, this might not ever happen again. I mean, that's a possibility. It might not. I mean, it's just the players that's in the leagues are so tough, so great.
My biggest regret is not getting involved deeper right out, like in 2018 when I had the 4th place finish in the online championship I think it was 12-5 at the time. First place overall was 110K.
Yeah,
I did that on 1 entry. And then the following year, I did 1 entry again, only 1 entry, and I won that OC. I didn't do any damage in the shootout.
Yeah,
but I often think, like, what if I did like 10, 15 teams that following year? And it was unfortunate. You know, I needed the money at the time, so I couldn't sink it all. I couldn't sink it all back into the fantasy. But I always think to myself, man, that's probably was my chance to really jam it in there and and see what I had there. But
and for tax purposes, it probably would have been good to take a few more teams there as well. Even though
I know. That was also we talked earlier, Greg. That was a rough patch.
Yeah.
Those 3 years where my mom passed away. I was dealing with I had a lot of family stuff. That was a rough couple of year patch there. But that's why I said I'm so grateful for the NFFC, the people in it, Joey's friendship, you coming on this show, helping us out, sharing the history. This is all stuff that I am greatly appreciative of. It, this point in my life. So this is great. So
yeah, I wish people realize how fantasy is such a community and how it's so good, and that's why I'm very proud of what we've created here. And but I don't ever want to leave this community myself. Even when I'm done here, I want to come back and play and have some fun. But whether it's your local league or office league or high stakes, I mean, it's all about community. That's how this was built, which is why it pisses me off about the gambling connotations and how we're linked in with DraftKings and FanDuel, because we're not DraftKings and FanDuel. But life goes on, and that's why people should understand the history of how we fought to get to this point. And from 2026 on, you guys are all the beneficiaries of what we did to get to this point. So carry it on and keep us proud as we go forward. All right.
Absolutely. Once again, Greg, appreciate you coming on. You currently do content, or we just live streaming drafts? Tell the peeps where they can find some live stream NFFC events.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can find all our contests at playnffc.com. It's pretty easy. playnffc.com. Our high stakes Fantasy Network YouTube channel does all of the live streams. Jeff and I are going to try to do one on Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. It's an online championship, Football Guys Online Championship. So we just did an auction, online draft or online auction the other day, live stream. That was a blast. That was a blast to watch, Jahmyr Gibbs go 57, 58, 59.
I paid 58 for him.
All right, there you go. There you go. And then to see Bijan come out and he goes 56, right? Well, same thing happened the next night, 59 and 57. So they're a blast. So that's the content that we do. I mean, I appear on SiriusXM from time to time. Tom runs our show every Wednesday night between 10 p.m. East. Well, now it's 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
I did it for 11 years, and then I'm just too old, and my wife was wondering what the hell I'm doing up till midnight. And but Tom does that. So we're on SiriusXM often, which is fantastic. But our live streams is on High Stakes Fantasy Network YouTube channel. So hope you love all that.
Yeah, you and Tom flip flop with Jeff Ertz on Mondays.
Yeah, I just was on this Monday with him, but Jeff's a big supporter of us, and the RotoWire is a big supporter of us. They're fantastic. Jeff and Chris, they would do beat leagues, and they would sell them out immediately because people want to go with them. So it's great. We're really happy to be with footballguys.com as our title sponsor. Joe Bryan and his crew is very, very supportive of us. We'll still work with RotoWire in football, and they'll still be our title sponsor in baseball for the online championship. They're just a great group. Yep. So they definitely will be involved with baseball with us. But it was just something that happened, and we're really happy to be working with footballguys.com.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it brings in different clientele too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. We've been with RotoWire since 2012, and it's fantastic. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a new customer list, and they have a fantastic site and really, really dedicated customers and a huge email list. So I think that's why we went up to 300,000 between the FFWC acquisition and getting a new promotional partner. We're not sitting still. Let's get that baby from 250 to 300. So like you said, Joe, we were at like 100,000. Then when it went to 110, 1 to 25, 150, 200, 250. Now we're at 300,000. That $350 contest has really, really grown. And I'm really proud of that too.
Yeah, I highly suggest. I know $350 is a lot of money, but if you can do just one,
Yeah.
Even if it's just one. I suggest if you take fantasy football serious, if like you're having a conversation with your casual friends and you feel out of place because you're too serious about it, do one league and go from there. That would be my advice. That's kind of how I slipped into the high stakes world. I gave up on running a home league. And it was because people just weren't as dedicated as I was, and I needed something that was along my level, and I'm not saying I had immediate success. I had a learning phase where I got my ass handed to me. I learned my opponents, though. I took my poker skills and applied it to fantasy football and observe my opponents and learn their tendencies and slowly got better each year. So that's why I say just take a shot on one and see where it goes from there. I think it's worth a shot if you're really serious about fantasy sports, fantasy football for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And high stakes kind of took off because people were tired of playing in their local leagues where two buddies did a trade at the end of the year and a guy won. And honestly, that's where a lot of people came to high stakes was, I don't mind playing against good competition. This is a no trading league, right? We don't have trades because of that. So draft well, do pick up fabs well, but there's no trading. So the best will win in our contests.
And they hate me in my local league because I don't like trading. I'm so used to just picked up players it's sort of like a semi-keeper league. So they'll ask me about trading. I said, nah, I just draft and pick up players. My NFFC stuff carries over to my local stuff. I mean, it's just I don't know.
Well, if you draft well and you know what you need to address in free agency properly, then what the hell you need to make a trade for? You trade. You trade to make your team better. You don't trade to make a trade. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's like I said. The grind of the NFFC is so tough, but if you win, you earn it. Everything you do in it, you earn it. NFBC or NFFC. When it feels good, I don't even care about the money when you win. I just like to win. Say I've won this. That's what I love about it. That's what I tell Joe all the time. I don't care about that grand prize stuff, and I think people lose control of that 300,000. You have to beat 9 other people to get the opportunity to play in that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with Fantasy Sports Magazine, we used to put the picture of a guy holding the big check, the 100,000. And I've had many people say, I'd rather be on the cover of that magazine holding that check than cashing that check. I want that notoriety. I want to be on there. And that's why I miss our magazine, because I love doing that. Yeah, we got them on the website and stuff. But, when you had a magazine with 150,000 circulation and you had your one customer holding that check on the cover, that was pretty damn rewarding. And I know people really, really love that.
Nice. Just because you brought that up, Greg, I'm gonna email you a picture from when I got that 4th place check in the mail, and I held it up in front of the fireplace, and my wife took a picture of me.
There you go.
I'm gonna share that picture with you.
Very good.
After the show.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, there's a lot of pride in that, right? And
absolutely, 100%, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
But all right. We're at an hour and a half. Yeah. We've taken up far too much of your time, Greg.
That's all right. My wife isn't hollering just yet, so we're still good. Nice. But no, I appreciate it, guys. And again, I love talking about the history. So, Joe, keep on doing those live streams, and Joey, you just keep on winning, and we'll talk a year from now and have some fun with this.
I need to email you about the forums that way I can get back on there.
Yeah. Just email me, and I'll give you that link. Okay.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Nice meeting you too. Like I said, we've tweeted in the past and emailed, but I'm glad to get to talk to you a little bit.
Nice to meet both you guys.
Absolutely, Greg. So I want to shout out the chat. Anybody listening on X, go over to YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You're not subscribed to the Sports Affiliation. We do great content every day. I'm live streaming drafts. We're doing high stakes content. We're bringing on guys from the regular part of the industry, not necessarily high stakes, but I mix it up. Occasionally I'll do a poker show as well. So, we got great shows every day. Kala, I don't know if you guys know Carla Hazam. She does great. The game changes on Wednesday night, and she also has a show on Friday night highlighting Zumba instructors. Great stuff. She's a great interviewer, so check that out. Greg, Joe, once again, it was great. We're going to get out of here. Next week, we got Billy Wasowski and Willie Miles. Definitely want to tune into that. They're both overall champions in the event that we've been talking about all night, the 350 online championship. And Billy is also a Hall of Famer. And in my opinion, probably the best player I've ever played against. I mean, who knows? He might be losing his fastball, but, I didn't say that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm looking forward to next week. So that's all I got, guys. Greg, thank you. Joey,
See you guys.
appreciate you. Have a good night.